The Quebec City mosque shooter Alexandre Bissonnette has pleaded guilty and is currently awaiting his sentence. Now, before I get to the bulk of what I want to talk about, here is a quick overview of the event that took place. In January of last year, Bissonnette walked into the Grand Mosque in Quebec City with a Glock handgun and calmly opened fire, killing 6 Muslim men and injuring 5 more. Video of the shooting shows selfless and heroic actions being taken by the Muslim worshippers inside the mosque against Bissonnette. In the police interrogation video, when asked why he killed the men, Bissonnette said it was because he wanted to, quote, save people from terrorist attacks. I was listening to TV, and I learned that the Canadian government was going to take more refugees, who couldn't go to the United States, and they were coming here. I saw that, and I, lost my mind. I don't want us to become like Europe. I don't want them to kill my parents, my family. Now, where the hell would someone get an idea like that? Well, as Toronto Star reporter Daniel Dale tweeted out, the court was shown evidence that the perpetrator of Quebec City mosque massacre's favorite tweeter was Ben Shapiro, who has claimed that there are at least 680 million, quote, radical Muslims worldwide and 500,000 in the US. And here's an example of the kind of language that Ben Shapiro uses when talking about immigration. Media using cons to justify turning a blind eye to dangers of unvetted Islamic immigration ignore the fact that Muslims killed Khan's son. Now, the idea that the mainstream media has been advocating for unvetted immigration is just complete bullshit. Refugees already go through extensive vetting, and anyone trying to tell you otherwise is simply lying to you. And it's worth noting that the vast majority of terror incidents, including ones by Muslim radicals, have been Americans, not immigrants. Now, to be fair, it's not only Ben Shapiro. So, as Vice points out, Bissonnette routinely checked the Twitter accounts of right-wing pundits, conspiracy theorists, and alt-right trolls. These include, but are not limited to, Ben Shapiro, whom he checked the most, Paul Joseph Watson and Alex Jones of InfoWars, white nationalist Richard Spencer, alt-right troll Baked Alaska, conspiracy theorist Mike Cernovich, former KKK leader David Duke, the far-right YouTube pundit and alleged cult leader Stefan Molyneux, Kellyanne Conway, Fox News personality Tucker Carlson, and then Rebel Media personality Gavin McInnes. Now, I want to be clear. I think it's completely overboard to try and blame these murders on right-wing news hosts. That said, language and facts are important. As Ben Shapiro points out, facts don't care about your feelings. And the fact is, over the past several years, there has been more right-wing domestic terror incidents than there has any other type of terrorism. But you wouldn't know that if you just listened to right-wing news hosts like Ben Shapiro. Now, that's not to say don't cover Islamic terrorism. If you're going to cover terrorist issues, then yes, cover radical Muslims as well. But if you're covering Islamic terrorism to a much higher degree than you are right-wing terrorism, then you simply aren't being honest with your audience. Now, I pick out Ben Shapiro here because maybe I'm naive, but I think Ben Shapiro knows better. So, as he tweeted out last year, he opposes the Muslim ban. So it shows that he has at least some awareness of this issue. Now, I want to be clear once again. Ben Shapiro didn't go out and call for anyone to kill Muslims. But when a right-wing extremist like Alexandre Bissonnette is a big fan of yours, it should at least make you stop and think, okay, what am I saying that could result in a right-wing extremist being a big fan of mine? And as we know from Ben Shapiro's history, if this killer was a Muslim, he'd be blaming the man's faith. So, as Ben Shapiro tweeted out after the nightclub massacre in Florida, radical Muslim kills 49 LGBT people in Florida. Obama blames guns. Bernie says climate change is our greatest threat. Priorities, people. Okay, so using Ben Shapiro logic, since this guy wasn't a radical Muslim, but instead a radical right-wing terrorist who's a big fan of Ben Shapiro, is Ben Shapiro now going to blame himself for these killings? I wouldn't, but using Ben Shapiro logic, you would. But here's what Ben Shapiro tweeted out. The shooter is a deranged piece of shit who should burn in hell. If you think I'm responsible for his evil, go fuck yourself. Oh, he's deranged! Of course! The white guy gets to be deranged, but when it's a brown guy, it's because of ideology. White means deranged, brown means ideology. If that was true, you would have 3 million Muslim terrorists walking the streets of the US. But you don't. Do you know why? Because it's not just about ideology. It's a mixture of factors. So I believe it's mental instability, it's environmental factors, whether it's political or religion, and it's the ability for that person to access a weapon. So in the case of Bissonnette, I think it was his ability to access a Glock, even in Canada, and a mixture of his mental instability and his right-wing ideology. In the case of the nightclub killer, same thing. His ability to access an assault rifle in the US, his mental instability, and his ideology. So the idea that somehow, your skin color or even your beliefs change your ability to, or change the reasoning for your killings is absolutely ridiculous. It's always going to be a mixture of factors. It's never going to be one thing. So that's my issue with the way these right-wing hosts and Ben Shapiro cover terrorism. When a Muslim does it, it's all because of the ideology. But when a white guy does it, it's because he has brain problems. No, in all of these cases, it's a mixture. So look, what I want to do here is, I want you to be more empathetic, be more aware. Understand that we are all the same underneath our skin. So whether you're a brown guy or a white guy or a brown woman or a white woman, whatever you are, understand that environmental factors, whether it's political or religion and mental instability and your ability to get dangerous weapons like assault weapons or a Glock, these are all factors that go into these sorts of massacres. It's never just one thing. So that's why, I don't want to get too deep into this, but that's why when these sorts of massacres happen, I think it's important to talk about gun control. Because gun control is the easiest thing of these three to control. You can enact laws that will prevent more of these people from accessing weapons. It's a lot tougher to get people out of their ideology, whether it's religion or political. And it's a lot tougher to fix people who are mentally unstable. Now, those are issues that should be addressed, but the easiest one of those three to address is the guns. That's why I believe you should start with proper gun control and then work your way to the other two. But look, I just want people here to be more aware, more empathetic. And if we do that, then we get closer to a society that is better for all of us. Hey, if you like this video, hit that subscribe button below and consider throwing me a few bucks on Patreon at patreon.com/therationalnational or therationalnational.com/join.